And welcome to Canada. Yeah, isn't this just beautiful, huh? This is the view outside my front window. Ho, ho, ho. It's gorgeous. Throwback Thursday, thinking about the past, how it affects the future, and having a little bit of ice cream hybrid. So, cheers to everybody. Hi. It's Thursday. It's a little bit in the afternoon already. I woke up at noon today to a text from a friend. Cheers. I again had one of those difficult nights where I'm just not tired. I'm just not tired. No matter, and yeah, sure, I got high. I tried to put a fair amount of indica into me. Nothing was making me tired, just zero effect. So So I forced myself to sleep in today, and that felt good. That felt good. So, what does any of that have to do with Throwback Thursday? Well, I was just looking for an excuse to make a video and talk to all of you. But I owe you a story. So, like I say, when I look outside and I see all that snow, I think of tobogganing and tubing. Tubing is something that I don't see a lot of people do as much anymore as we used to when we were young, probably because of how dangerous it is. You cannot steer a tube. You just can't. Plus, tubes were really big when I was young. Uh, my dad working for the railway would be able to get, back then, most tires, even in trucks, had tubes, and he would be able to get the biggest tubes, and he'd bring them out to the country with us. We were in the Okanagan, 20-minute drive, half an hour drive, and you were in mountains and canyons, and there was always some place of just public property that you could toboggan or tube. This one time, my good friend Shane, just maybe this was before his brother had passed, but his brother wasn't with us. We, Shane and his brother, his family were very close to mine and still are. He calls my parents mom and dad. He was, he's been at every family reunion. Um, we were tubing, and we had found this wonderful place. The tube kept going off to the right towards the trees, and we had lots of big people too. So there was lots of people at the bottom of the hill digging and building ramps, trying to keep making our path a little bit longer. And we were having a great time. Two, three, sometimes six or seven people sitting around the tube, going down and on toboggans and on skis. And we were having a great time. We were there easily a good 3 hours, but we were starting to get worried about how the tube kept going off to the right. And then it happened. My sister was on Shane's right, and her best friend Esther was on Shane's left. And they were going down the hill, and I was watching, and it went up and over the bank we had built and went straight into a tree, a big, big pine tree, at full speed and dead on. Esther was flown clear. My sister hit a tree branch with her head, but was okay. I think she ended up with some neck problems. But Shane went straight into the tree, just straight into it. And by the time both my dad and I had gotten down there, he wasn't even breathing. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Wasn't even breathing. My dad immediately felt around his chest and knew he couldn't do anything because he had just gone into a tree. And so my dad just worked hard on trying to breathe into him and breathe into him. And sure as heck, it took maybe a minute and a half, but he got him breathing. He wasn't conscious though. We took him, we rushed him. Dad had a pallet in his truck, so we went and grabbed that and we very carefully put him on the pallet and we rushed him to the hospital. Nobody had cell phones back then. Um, Shane's still with us. Shane's still with us. In fact, for the rest of the spring, every girl at school would go along. Can I touch your head? Because he had water on the skull for quite a while, and it was very. He he should have died that day if not for my dad and his knowledge of first aid, and that's why I've gone every 3 years since then. Every 3 years since then, and kept up my first aid, advanced first aid. And I have used it twice myself in my life. I do encourage everybody, if you get a chance to do it for free, learn your CPR, learn your first aid. But if you can't get it for free, go out and pay for it. It is worth it. I think in most cases it'll be tax deductible, but it is worth it because I've always had those dreams that when faced with adversity, I would freeze, just freeze. That doesn't happen. In both cases where I've had to save a life, I went into a robot mode, handled the situation, and fell apart later. That's kind of how it happens. So I want to say cheers and happy winter to everybody. I am hoping that I can get my health a little better so I can get out there and sweep some of this snow. Cheers and peace, love and harmony.